Hello. Man alive, I've got to tell you, I am so jazzed up about the exciting things happening here that it's tough to think about much else. I'm expecting the NDA to be available tomorrow. Mr. Mufareh shared it with the Leadership Council, and it seems to me to be rather straightforward. I mean, there was some legalese stuff, but overall, it was completely understandable. So when it comes out, make sure you read it and then sign it. Anyway, good day to you. My name is Jeffrey, and I gotta tell you, our brain is really cool. Man, it's an artifact in as much as it's a complete record of the past for us. It's organized and contains everything we've ever learned or experienced, all the way up to right now, to this very moment. Did you know that our subconscious mind loves its habits? So much so that we wake up in the morning, get out of bed, same side, shower like always, grab our cup of coffee or morning beverage, or eat or skip breakfast, whatever our routine is, and we go through it every day, day in, day out. Go to work, come back home, do the same thing, go to bed, wake up and do it all over again. So my question is, honestly, do you think that anything has changed? Do you think our brain has changed one iota through any of that? No, of course not. Everything's pretty much the same. Thoughts, actions, emotions, even the way that we secretly hoped that something or expected something that would happen or change in our lives. Einstein nailed it when he said the definition of insanity was doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And all the while that we're doing the same stuff over and over, we're hardwiring our brain into a very predetermined way, because when we fire and wire those circuits day in and day out, just like always, it stays that way. We're so good at it, as a matter of fact, according to science, that by the time we're 35 years old, we're nothing much more than a set of memorized behaviors, unconscious habits, automatic emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, and even attitudes that operate just like a computer program. Man, as a matter of fact, when we do these things over and over and over again, those repeated actions will, over time anyway, condition our body to know how to do those things better than our mind does. We call them habits. For all practical purposes, our body becomes the mind. Incidentally, we do have little brains in various parts of our bodies, but that's another story. And if you're wondering where most of this is coming from, it's because I love a man by the name of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is really cool. He's a neurosurgeon, philosopher, and just an all-in-all great guy that has really opened my mind up to a bunch of stuff. Anyway, that's exactly what a habit is. Nothing more than an action our body knows how to do better than our brain because we've done it so many times. And that's where we get the 95% of life's active moments or automatic action that we spoke about earlier. Habits. Of course, you're probably wondering right about now, why is this important and why do I care? Well, many of you have heard me talk about the new paradigm, right? Well, this stuff, like Onpassive, is all a part of it, a big part of it. Because this is where the intellectual rubber, quote unquote, meets the road, so to speak. It's the basis for how we learn the new information that we learn. Namely, learning is nothing more than just making new synaptic connections in the brain. Used to be when we were growing up, they said that wasn't possible. Well, we know better now. And those connections are the physical evidence that results from the interaction within our environment. And it's the actual quote-unquote footprint, if you will, of consciousness that we call learning. So, if learning is making connections, then it would stand to reason that remembering would have to be maintaining and sustaining those connections, right? So our emotions are always connected to the past. That's because they're connected via the old hardware through the neural networks that were made when the original emotion was created. You see, our brain has specific networks that represent the old information. That's the information previously obtained and hardwired, so when we have a thought, the whole loop thing is activated. And that loop is predictable. It's information that's vital for understanding how to create our future through defining a vision of it that is bigger than our memories of the past. I know you probably think this is a little bit out there, but I'll tie it in sooner or later. I mean, it'll all come together for you. So, if our brain is a record of the past, and we do not have any new vision for the future, then we are continually living in the past, and we will never be able to live out anything new. Instead, the predictable past becomes the predictable future. I hope you're staying with me. This is kind of weird sometimes. I'm sure you can agree that new information and new thoughts should lead to new choices. Our new choices should lead to new behaviors, and new behaviors should give us new experiences. You see the pattern here, right? New experiences should produce new emotions, and those new emotions should drive new thoughts. This is actually the evolution that nobody's ever talked or told us about. But when we feel old emotions, the chemical signatures associated with it drive the same old thoughts, so the loop continues. Instead, we should be waking up every morning being defined by a bigger vision than ourselves that provides inspiration and leads us into a new possibility. If we're not, then we're lapsing right back into the same old hardware of the past with the same old ideas, and guess what? We'll be seeing the same people, doing the same thing, attending the same places, yada, yada, yada. And that's when our external environment is controlling how we think and feel, because it's turning on different circuits in our brain and causing us to think in a way that's consistent with everything that we currently know. In this way, our thoughts are somehow connected to our destiny, and as long as we're thinking in a way that's equal to our circumstances and to our environment, we'll keep creating the same life we've got. But to change our future, to really change it, we need to think greater than our environment, greater than our circumstances. And to change the world, we need to think greater than the circumstances of the world. Think about that. Guess what Onpassive is doing? Right on. Onpassive is thinking in ways greater than the circumstances of the world. Ash Mufara is thinking greater than the circumstances of his world and the world at large. In fact, all the great leaders in history, no matter who they were, have known this and has fostered visions greater than their circumstances. But you gotta watch out, because the minute you stop making the same choices that we always make, then we'd better get ready for the results. They're not gonna be comfortable. And that's when we know that we're heading towards something new, okay? Just remember that 95% of who we are is the body as the mind. So when we decide to make a change, look out, because we will talk ourselves right out of the best things for our own lives if we're not careful. I mean, why do you think so many people can't believe that Onpassive is real and possible? Because they don't know and have never known anything like this, so they're always reverting to the old feelings that once again provide old thoughts of what is familiar, and so produce the same types of disempowering thoughts, and the cycle goes on. Yes, sir. As soon as we get hit with an unfamiliar thought or idea, that's when the little voice in our head says something like, "Oh, that can't be," or "No one can do that." And the second we respond to thoughts like that as if they're true, it's going to lead us right back to the same choice, which leads us to the same, well, you get the point, right? So be on the lookout for it. Our subconscious is trying to lead us back to the familiar because it really likes its habits, and change is not comfortable. It does not like being in the unknown. Alright, so the best way to predict our new future is to create it from the unknown. Because when we're comfortable, while being in a place that's unknown, that's where the magic happens. And that is precisely the kind of magic that's happening currently with Onpassive. Onpassive is the leading edge. It is the entity experiencing the bow shock, so to speak, as it continues to crash through the resistance of the old paradigm. I sincerely hope that we can take some of this that we've been given here and use it to create a future that promotes the best version of ourselves that is absolutely possible. We just have to let go of the negativity. We have to get behind the momentum of a grand vision and step into a new frontier that's completely unknown to us. All of us, you, me, Onpassive, we're all in unknown territory, and we've gotten pretty comfortable here doing what has never been done before in our reach for a global greater good, and it is absolutely magical. I thank you so much for listening to me here. I certainly hope that you enjoyed it and got something from it, and may blessings follow you throughout the day. If you are new to Onpassive and somebody has provided you with an invitation, then please get back with them and sign up under them. But if not, I would certainly encourage you to join my team through the link below. I would love to hear from you and work with you. And together we can work toward a future that will be a lot better for everybody. Thank you.